You can sit down. He liked the limelight. He liked the limelight. That's what will pay off one day. That's part of my retirement plan in case this auto company thing don't work out. Seem to be working out pretty good for Reggie, though. So y'all notice he ain't missing no meals back there. Okay, lesson 1, the call, make disciples. Number 1, it said, what did Jesus call his followers to do? As he said earlier, it's to go out and make disciples of all nations. And I have been doing a little studying in that. And, you know, studying this, I was thinking to myself, you know, when I grew up, a lot of the pastors pastored and they had full-time jobs. I don't know how they did it, you know, just preparing for a lesson, you know, and working full time and being a dad and having kids and other responsibilities, you know. I don't know how they did it, you know, but the overwhelming majority of them did do that. So just another reason for me to appreciate our pastor. So not only, you know, our church here, but of course he got the one up there and people calling constantly. I know I'm always texting him or calling him, you know, and uplifting him and all that kind of stuff. So this is definitely a full-time job. So just a little more appreciation. You guys need a purple book? Y'all got a purple book? Brenda got plenty. So we're in chapter 6. So, yeah, lesson 1. I told him, unlike Pastor, when I said I'm going to get you out of here early, I'm going to get you out of here early. So, I'm still taking up an offering. So, don't I ain't going to forget that part. I never get to speak again if I do that. So anyway, we're just discussing that what Jesus called his people to do was to go out and be disciples in all the land. And like I said, I've been doing some studying on that. And I find out that myself in particular, and I know a lot of people I know, we're Christians, you know, but a lot of people don't disciple. A lot of people don't want to share the gospel. They don't go out. They just kind of keep that to themselves, you know, and that's not what we're called to do. The main purpose of him coming, of course, was forgiving of our sins and to make disciples of others, and we haven't been doing that, you know, and I'm guilty of it, you know. I share my faith. People see me, and I tell folks, yeah, I always say I'm one of the nicest guys I know, you know, but being nice ain't going to get me into heaven. You know, but being nice will open up the door for conversation for me to share why I am so happy and I am so blessed. So that's one of the things that I would challenge all of us to work on in this new year. I think about, you know, a lot of times we sit at work and, you know, it's a lot of us in the stock market and, man, it's up and down, it's a roller coaster and all this other stuff and people panicking and everybody's giving a new stock tip. Oh, man, you see how much this went up today and all that, you know. And I thought to myself, and this was a couple years ago, and I thought, wouldn't that be nice if everybody was that excited about sharing the gospel? You know, here we should share something that's going to give us eternal life, make us better people, you know, discipline our families and our children, make disciples out of them. I said, so if everybody had that same enthusiasm, you know, to share the word, and a lot of these are so-called Christians, you know, they'll talk about stocks or anything, sports, more than they'll talk about, you know, our Savior. So it just amazes me, and I tell a story. We're filming tonight, so I try to keep it clean. I recognize this ain't the men's meeting. Well, years and years and years and years and years and years and years ago, there was a magazine, and it wasn't no X-rated magazine, but it did have some scantily clad, you know. And man, my buddy called me. I was working third shift, and this was back at the old place, and it was called King. Y'all probably heard of that magazine. So anyway, he told me about it. Man, I couldn't wait. I would always stop by 7-Eleven and get me a coffee on my way into work. So here it was right in front, the magazine. So, and I thought to myself, so I got it, you know. So I get to the job. Of course, they got articles and stuff, you know. That's why I got it. So I get there. And I get to my little office area where I'm at, and I open up my book bag, and when I pulled out the magazine, my Bible was right underneath it, you know. So, which I always took my Bible to work. I always read my Bible. And I just thought, it just, you know, I was convicted. I was like, man, I said, if I had that same enthusiasm, You know, man, I can't wait to get to work. You know, I want to read this Bible. I want to do it, you know. But yet I was excited to get there and see this particular, what he was telling me about or whatever. So, again, just having our priorities, you know, in check. So we'll move forward. I say every time they got the light on, we need to get some Laura Walt bulbs. For anybody that ever been in a police lineup, y'all know what I'm talking about. I know I'm the only one. I know I'm the only one. So I don't want to turn nobody off. So, wow. Matter of fact, one of my little, yeah, I don't want to scare nobody away. I got a note in here on one of these where I was going to share that today. We was at work, and it was some song. Somebody said something, but it was part of a song, you know, a rap song from years ago. And I quoted the lines from the rap song, and one of my coworkers, she said, "How you know that's secular music?" You know. But I'll tell you, they just don't know. So when I share my story, they say, "Okay, I get it," you know. So anyway, what did Jesus say? What did Jesus say they must do after baptizing a new believer? So this is over in Matthew 28:2. Actually, 28:20. You want to come up and read for me? Number 2. I'm on 2 now. Yes. I guess I'll get you my... That's my wife texting me. She know I ain't had nothing to do today. So we're going to remove that book so I can see.
Teaching them to observe all things whatsoever I have commanded you, and I am with you always, even unto the end of the world. Amen.
You can know that. Okay. Pastor and I were talking a couple years ago, and it was about, I took my son out golfing, my older boy, and he's a really good golfer. We've had him swinging the club since he's been 3 years old, but he's really good, and everybody recognizes it except him. You know, he don't take it passionately like he does basketball and some other sports. So we stopped afterwards and got something to eat, and the golfing was on. And I was telling him, I said, "Listen, dude," I said, "if you want to be better," I said, "you got to do what the pros do." I said, Tiger Woods ain't Tiger Woods because he don't practice. I said, you know, he out there hitting 500 balls a day, every day. He got a trainer and all that. So here I'm telling him, I said, you got to watch it. You got to watch they swing. You got to watch they stroke, they putting style, all of that. So after that conversation, once again, I was convicted, and I was telling, you know, in the men's group, I always say, I want to elevate my prayer life. You know, I want to love on people more. So I said the same thing with me. If I want to do better, my heroes, you know, I need to mimic them, do the same thing that they're doing, just like I'm trying to coach my son in golf. You know, I need, you know, first of all, the head of my life, Jesus, I need to follow the example that he set for me. So that's what this is talking about, you know, is that we got to follow Jesus' steps, you know, do what he did, you know. So, and I think a lot of time we don't do that. Fortunately, lately, I've had an opportunity. We've been doing a lot of volunteer work, and helping people, that's my passion. A lot of you guys know I'm from very modest, humble beginnings, you know, with growing up in the projects, you know, addiction all around me, alcohol and drug addiction, welfare, coming home, no lights, no gas, doing, you know, I mean, under all these circumstances. So some of the things that we've been doing through United Way and Family House and St. Paul's and man, we've been Aurora House. I mean, we've been to a half a dozen American Red Cross. Today we did mobile meals on wheels. So getting out there and seeing these people, and my heart really goes out to them because it takes me back 50 years when I was a child and I was in these same circumstances. But I'm being blessed. because I'm using that, So now my picture's up all over the plant for the volunteer work. And again, it's giving people an opportunity to say, hey, man, they want to get involved. So it's a special time right now. So, and like I say, getting out there, they say the best story that you could tell is the life that you live, Everybody knows I go to church, but everybody knows people that go to church don't act like they go to church, Or, we're all guilty of it. Go to church, and we be the first ones to cuss somebody out and all of that. So, but I'm conscious of my attitude. I'm conscious of the way that I carry myself. I'm conscious of the way that I treat people, talking to people the same way Jesus would. It's, the what would Jesus do is definitely, a lifestyle to live. So I want to be that example, Mike, man, that cat, he always preaching. I seen him cuss the boss out the other night. That the bosses don't need cussing out, but it's just having the discipline not to do it. And we can do it respectfully. So that's a little bit of my testimony for what's been going on these last couple of weeks. As the word of God spread in the first Jerusalem, what was the result? Acts 6:7. Acts 6:7. Yeah, you can go ahead, Mike. I got it, but you can read it.
The word of God spread, and the number of the disciples multiplied greatly in Jerusalem, and a great many of the priests were obedient to the faith.
Ain't that awesome? Ain't that awesome? I mean, so here you share the faith, you share the story, and when I was reading this, and it said it was multiplied greatly, I mean, that's just awesome, so you touch a life and you touch a life and he touch a life and it just multiplies. I mean, that just really touched me greatly, it said. So it reminded me of, I've got a little note in here too about Reggie spoke here a couple months ago, and I think it was titled Indeed. You remember one of the last times he spoke, and he was talking about Indeed, and it put emphasis on the acts that were done. So greatly to me, it's just what it is, that adjective that just describes it, that it was greatly multiplied. So what it's telling us is that if we get out there and we do what we're called to do, others are going to follow. We're going to multiply this, so which is our job, And it's hard to get out there and talk to people. A lot of people ain't people persons, I know I get to, talking, man, and sometimes I may not be in the mood. I always got a smile on my face and all of that, but I recognize that when an opportunity presents itself, be prepared. There's a young lady that started her own foundation, and her name is Rita Jackson. She works out there with us. And I have to remind her, she want to be in the background and all that. And I say, hey, you Rita Jackson, start acting like it, So she said, that's right. So now she's getting confident. So now when she speaks to these people and sets all these things up, there's that air of confidence. And of course, her story is like most. She grew up in the church, and they forced her to go to church, and long story short, so it drew her away from the church. So I made a comment one of these days, my Steelers was playing, and my buddies, we went over here to the bunker over here, Andy's, So I went over there, caught half of the game, and I left and went home. So she's like, bunker? I said, yeah. I said, well, it's a little sports bar over not too far from the house. She said, a sports bar? I said, yeah. I said, I went over there, watched it, halftime with a bar, And so she was surprised at that, So I said, yeah, I went over. I don't drink and party and none of that stuff, but my friends, and we just watched the game. There's families to be up in there, kids or whatever. But that's all I did. And she went on to tell me that because of the way she grew up, us so holy people, she said if she was still in the church, she wouldn't even be allowed to talk to me, because I met my friends and watched half of the football game at the sports bar. It's incredible, man. It's incredible. Well, when you're young, when you're young, exactly. And that's the story that I shared with her. I said, but, I love my son, but he goes to this church because of me. That's what he does. Eventually he'll get older. He might say, you know what? Maybe that particular church is like us. I went to my grandmother's church. I mean, all of us, I'm sure, was drugged to church, So, but that's all that she knew. She didn't know any better, and then it turned her off, So, and that's what I told her. When she told me that she couldn't hang out with me, I said, well, maybe that's why you don't go to church anymore. Because of those same things. So she told me today, we partnered up for the meals. And she's like, every time we go out somewhere, we always have fun and people always, I said, yeah, that's the way it's supposed to be. Good, wholesome, clean fun. And we're doing magnificent things in the community. So there's going to be more coming up about that. So, exactly. That is a fact. That is a fact. You have to. Oh, yeah, it's huge, And
they don't realize he said, I sent you into darkness.
Exactly.
I gotta go into the bar. That's where the sick are at.
Exactly. Yeah, those are the ones that I come to save. I had a trigonometry class back in high school, and I remember like day one, my instructor said, he says, I'm not concerned with what you know, I'm concerned with what you don't know. So those are the things that he attacked. So I look at that like, saved and unsaved. You guys are straight A students, you're going to be all right, but these other people that are struggling, these are the ones that I really want to bring up to your level. We got to help bring people up to that level. So that exactly. That's why that stock tip, man, if I had a stock that doubled today and doubled tomorrow, man, I'd be telling everybody, dude, you got to put your money in this, go get, But I got something, the best tip that I can give anybody, and I don't share it like that. People that need to hear it, life-changing tips, and that people need to hear it. And if we love these people and love even ones that we don't know, this is a challenge for us. We have to do that. So, I mean, I know in my family, man, there's tons of people, I'll touch on that in some of my notes a little earlier, too, a little later. Because that's another thing is that these same friends, just like I said about the friend whose mom had the stroke, nobody wants to go through that. He put the text out to all the friends. I texted him back, told him I was going to, let you know. We're going to put it out there. 2 days later, man, I can feel it in his text. So guess what? I know that conversation's going to be had. I always invite them out to the men's meeting. Sometimes they come, sometimes they don't. But watch and see. I'm predicting that he's going to show up because he wants to know more about this healing God of ours. Pastor talks about it all day. You pray for somebody out of a wheelchair and they get up and they walk out. That's going to get people's attention. So I know if my mother was sick, and the saints was praying for whatever church that was, guess what? I want to see what's going on in that church, so. What did Paul, we're on 3. No, we'll go to 4. What did Paul command Timothy to do with the things he had been taught? 2 Timothy 2:2.
And the things that thou hast heard of me among many witnesses, the same commit thou to faithful men, who shall be able to teach others also.
So I guess y'all get the gist of what we're talking about here. And this, again, reminds me of when I was talking about the professional golfers or, the pastor or whoever you want to emulate. Those same things that Jesus did, we're supposed to do. And I can't stress it enough. It's something that I've been dealing with personally, being good, being nice, being gracious, all of that stuff. Those are all good habits, but they ain't going to get us into heaven. I know, the Lord of my life who's led me or I'm striving to be more Christ-like, to be like him. And trust me, it ain't always easy. I'm sure it ain't all, especially in the workplace. We spend a lot of our time at work and people challenge you and, they'll talk about you, don't even know you, spread false rumors, then you straighten them out and they won't say nothing to the dozen people they didn't say something about before. So it can be bothersome. And I've shared with the men, I ain't always been this nice guy you see in front of you. It was I was known a little bit out here, you know what I'm saying? So I don't do real well with that. So I know that's my struggle, that is my struggle because, we speak to each other like we're men, so when other people don't, people find that hard to believe, just like the pastor last Sunday, talking about he threw his teacher down the stairs. I get it. I was always very studious, but I get it. So God gives you life-changing. He can change that, He changes those kind of things. So,
one of the most difficult, and you work back in the men and women, in that environment, the language, the language there that you get saturated with.
Exactly.
You have to watch yourself because it almost roll off your tongue.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's easy. I always tell the kids it's easier to do wrong than it is to do right, and I'm constantly reminding them, I said, dude, you a Jefferson. I told him my mama, she told me I came from good stock. You know what I'm saying? So, and I always remember that. So I tell my boys the same thing. I said, and some of my proudest moments is when other parents have came up to us. Everybody know they got good-looking kids and pretty eyes and all that other kind of stuff. But when they compliment you on their attitude, or some bully at school was picking with their daughter and your son stepped in, and they're like 6 and 7 years old. Those are the things. We're doing something right. And they say, oh, want to do play dates and all that other kind of stuff, so, but I am the example. I remember my oldest boy grew over at my parents' house. He's like 2 years old. We toothpicks. My dad always have a toothpick, And man, we're sitting there watching the game, and he was maybe 2. He had a toothpick in his mouth. So we're sitting there, and my dad was like, you see that? And I looked, I said, yeah. So, and he said, so you see, you got to watch what you do around here, right? I said, exactly, so, and that's something as a 2-year-old lesson, but I remember that, so the way I treat my wife, get up, one of the, you can sit down, I'm getting off on a tangent, but a couple weeks ago, my furnace went out. I go to work. I've been doing a split shift, so I'll go later. So we got a little heater in our room. So when I got up, it was freezing in the house. So, I got up and messed around with the, took off work, messed around with the furnace, did what I could do. Called one of my guys. He came over, fixed it, Part was $69, $100 labor, So by the time they got home from school and my wife got home from work, it was done. So he was like, Dad, it was cold in here this morning, But what hit me most about that was that I had $169 to get it fixed, That hit me because to them, it didn't even cross their mind that the furnace wasn't going to be working when they got home. Didn't even cross their mind. But I remember a day where I was like, man, I got to make a call. I had heaters around, you know what I'm saying? But now it wasn't an issue, So, and again, over their head, they don't know what that's been like, but I lived through that. So, exactly. Man, tell me. Couple outfits, so I really am humbled. I really am grateful, but again, that's the example that I want to set for my children. So, and we don't really think about, at least I didn't. I'll talk about me discipling my kids. I didn't think about that. It's always the people out, in the community, out in the world, and but with my boys. I always say, well, they see me and whatever. And, the way I was raised, we're old school. You go to work, you bring home a check, you bring the bacon home, the wife fried up, you're the disciplinarian and all that other kind of stuff, So that's the way I was raised. And one of the things that we share all the time is that men in my generation, and I think it's even worse now, I don't ever remember my father telling me that he loved me, I knew he loved me. I even heard him tell, my baby brother who constantly got in trouble, well, I paid this or I bought that, And we had a real conversation about that one day. And tears was flowing and all of that, I said, but they need that. So I'll make it a common thing now to let my children know that I love them, So, and it wasn't easy at first. You know, I mean, even some of the guys here at the church. You know, I saw Nate, the singer. You know, he was up in the job. We got Chick-fil-A in there, and I was getting ready to get on the elevator. He come running up and grabbed me by the arm, and I didn't see him. And I said, "Hey," you know, because I was talking to him about getting a job out there. And he said, "Oh," I said, "Man," I said, you got in?" And he pointed to his hat. He said, "No, I'm over here at Chick-fil-A." So we was talking, you know, and I'm talking to him, "Hey, man, it's good to see you." Talk to him about the music, all of that. And I told him I loved him, you know. So now, just like those bad words that can easily flow off our tongue, now the good words are flowing off our tongue, you know. And men get uncomfortable, you know. I mean, they get you know. But I'm telling you, but guess what? The more that we say it, and not just say it, but the more that we show it, you know, people are believing it, you know, and we mean what we say, you know. So I'm changing that. You know, at least in my household, in my generation, and the men that come to these things, you know. So we were supposed to be tough men, you know, and we are. Don't get it twisted, right, Mike? Don't get it twisted. So we still posse up if we have to, but, you know, we still love one another. So
It's tougher to be a true man of God.
yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yeah, that's right. That's right. It really is.
That's one of the problems with the youth. They think pulling a gun out and shooting something
Right.
being tough.
Right.
You know, instead of dealing with the issue, coming face to face, man to man,
Right.
and talk and dealing with the issue, they tend to just go off.
Right.
And it's
Don't even worry about any consequences, responsibilities, or nothing like that. Oh, for sure. Of course. Right. 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 Yeah. Right. Right. Well, and I tell you too, a lot of times they don't know any better. You know, so I know we shared this at the men's meeting as well. As growing up, I got terrible advice, you know, from people that loved me, you know. I mean, my parents were never married, never together, you know, all that kind of stuff. So I had uncles, you know, they was, you know, pretty boy Smokey Robinson, you know, we all biracial, we got the pretty eyes and the good hair, you know, when hair was supposed to be good back in the day, all that kind of stuff, you know. So, but I'm telling you, I think about this now, and the stuff that they would tell me, man, when you going up in there, I'm thinking, yeah, Uncle Pee Wee, that's what I'm going to do. I'm a Jefferson, you know what I'm saying? Horrible advice, you know, but that's the way that they grew up. So, and you know, why would somebody that loves you so much give you that kind of advice? And, I mean, if he knew better than that, you know, and I loved him, you know, he got me my Easter shoes, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I got a new pair of shoes. That was a big deal, you know, so hoping my foot wouldn't grow.
Let me ask you, how do you deal with that now that you committed? Because I mean, I can look at you in the eye and know you love the Lord. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So how do you deal with that environment?
Well, I don't know. It came from isolation. So, truth started coming. You know what I'm saying? It's about, I don't know, it's deep. It's something I really can't put into words that, you know, but I don't know. I don't know. It's deep. It's just like, for real, it wasn't something I did on my own.
Right. Absolutely.
Because I feel like I try to do it on my own. I try over and over again. I try to do it.
Yeah.
And something always brought me back. Something always made me snap. And it wouldn't work. So, God.
Right. That's it. That's it. That's it. Yeah, I like to tell people I did it, you know.
People saying, and people being around me, you know, like, because a lot of people that I was hanging around knew how I got down. So by them seeing it, it's reflected, like, you know, it's something real out there. Like, people that don't even see me, they still don't believe it.
Right.
They get with me,
Yeah.
they really walk in the talk, you know, like, because a lot of people just think I'm, you feel me? They get
Exactly. You're right. That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right. And I'm telling you, man, God uses people just like you. You know, I mean, what you know about that circular mute? What? You don't you know, man, I tell you stories that make you stray away from me. You know what I'm saying? So, but again, and that day is going to come. You know, I remember Bishop preached a while back. He was talking about when you walk into a room, the atmosphere will change. You know, and I told the guys, I said, I've started experiencing that. You know, I know that when I walk into a room and there's people talking, you know, and I'm talking guys because obviously we speak different when guys and girls are in the room. But even with the men, the atmosphere changes, the conversation changes, you know, and I can feel that, you know. So I remember my niece. I came there in Youngstown or whatever. My cousin told me this later. My niece was over his house and went to visit him, and she wasn't drinking, you know, in front of me. Now, my niece 37 years old, you know, but it was because, you know, me being in that and her, you know, and she didn't want it to, you know what I'm saying? I know, you know what I'm saying? I don't judge people, you know what I'm saying? It ain't nothing that I don't think you can think of that I didn't did, you know? So I don't judge people, you know, that's a gift that I have. You know, I love people. I literally love people right where they're at. During this volunteer thing, man, we went into a place today, and you got to let yourself in, go upstairs, you know, and they give you direction. Down the hallway, last one on the right, doors open, you know, guys wheelchair bound, you know, and the lady I was with, she's like, what is this landlord doing? You know, and but these people just happy to have this place, you know. So we go in, guys wheelchair bound, we took his mail up, we go in, put the mail down, you know. He's sitting in a wheelchair in the other room. He knows where, you know, we announce ourselves or whatever. And he got the little, I keep forgetting, what's the little bed, you know, you urinate in? What's that? Yeah, but it's the handle one, whatever they call it. But it's sitting right there on the table, you know. And, man, I'm just talking to him, you know, hey, sir, blah, blah, blah. You know, so happy to have company. Then I'm like, how do people, you know. And I said, that ain't for everybody. You know, some of these, you know, but somebody got to do it, you know. So, again, you know, I'm that guy. That's my gift. You know, I don't care if I've been to church, man, people been reeking alcohol, you know. Other people, you know, man, did you smell him? Yeah, he's here. He's here. You know what I'm saying? He could have been laying at home in the bed, you know what I'm saying, drunk and hungover, but he's here, you know. But yet you here talking bad about somebody, you know, and you sober. So we got to put ourselves in check, you know. So for sure, you know. I mean, come on. Really? That's right.
And that's why God is bringing in such a variety of people.
Exactly.
Because like youth people, I remember we gave away churches and we walked into the house and they was cracked out.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I remember.
Right. Exactly.
So
Yeah.
it wasn't uncomfortable.
Right.
You bringing folks in like this that people can identify.
Yeah. And
And not when God made the change instead of us trying to force it.
right.
We bring them in, but we don't allow God to make the changes, the process that it takes to go through the process to make the proper changes.
Right.
Instead of trying to force them to change overnight in the city.
Right.
Fit in more.
Right.
Instead of letting God have his way.
Exactly. Go ahead.
I remember back in the day, you know, when I grew up in church, you would go to church, and the old women in church, they always be like pounding with the word God. God said this, God, but they weren't living it.
Exactly. Yeah.
I told my daughter has 4 girls. It's a crazy world that we live in, because I was on the internet, and I was checking out, you know how they have those little news flashes on the internet?
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like women are competing to see who can wear the less.
Ain't that
and
something?
have their body covered.
Ain't that something?
Yeah, you see it everywhere.
I tell you.
So I told my daughter, I said, you know,
Wow.
4 girls, it's a crazy world. I said, but your daughters don't give a crap about what you tell them. They don't give nothing. They put no emphasis on what you tell them. But if you live
Thank you. That's right. That's right.
Pick up every
That's right.
thing.
That's right.
They will know how to be as young women.
Right.
But you got to live it. And I said, the Bible says, it says that it does not change. It's the same today.
That's right. That's right.
So if the Bible says that it is important as a woman when you raise your daughters that you are to be virtuous, and that virtue is what teaches them how to be women of respect and women according to the way God says women should be. Because I tell my daughter, I'm not going to pound you.
Right.
I said, but the one thing I know is you can't come back and leave because I
So then that's right. That's right. That's right.
That's the most important thing. You have to
Well, and I'm chivalrous. I'm that guy to hold the doors, and everybody's a lady to me, and all that stuff. And out of my job, there's thousands of people there. Me and my buddy, we were laughing. I went over to the paint shop. He gave me a ride back, and we probably passed 1,000-something people, and saw 2 pair of jeans. Everybody had on the stretch pants and all that, But that's what they're wearing now, whether they can get away with it or not. A lot of it ain't leaving nothing to the imagination, And I don't like the way the dudes dress either, you know what I'm saying? So, but the dudes, guys. Well, no, we got a little bit of everything up in there, I'm telling you. So, for real. Hey, y'all think I'm joking, but... Yeah, exactly. But again, when I see them like that, and I don't know, maybe in our generation it was something that the guys didn't care about with us, but I love them right where they at. I don't gawk, I don't say nothing, I say, hey, good morning, lady. I'm holding the door, they a couple feet behind me, they look like they ain't never had a door, the girl that, yeah.
Just like he said, when you grow up in that environment.
Right.
When everybody is doing it, it don't seem
Exactly.
everybody's doing it, so it don't seem
It is.
because it's that environment that you're exposed to.
Right. That's it.
And until you get in another environment, that's when you start to recognize there is another way.
Right. That's right.
You gotta get exposed to
Well, and each one teach one, and that's why you got to disciple. That's right. That's why you got to disciple them. You're right. You are absolutely right.
But I see the one thing that we have to remember is the Bible says we are peculiar people.
For sure.
We're not like everybody.
That's right.
Even though we express love and we accept people who are different and we love them right where they're at, God says as far as it goes for you, you are to be peculiar. You're not.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, for sure.
To show. And that's why when you have the love of God in you and you go into place and you walk in the door, people know.
Exactly. There's something different, something peculiar about you. Yeah. Right.
Because the thing is, all have sinned and come
Exactly. Nobody. Like Paul, I was the chief. Right.
Once Christ comes into your life, there should be a change.
Exactly.
And that change is what makes you peculiar.
Exactly.
And I tell my son all the time, I said, you know what? I don't get all up into this racial stuff. And I hate it. I really
Right.
hate it. I don't get into it. I said, but my Bible says that I'm peculiar and I am not allowed.
There you go. That's right.
I'm not allowed to have that.
Right.
I'm not even allowed to live that way. I don't care what the pressure is or how heavy it is. God says
That's right.
that you are to be peculiar and you're not to be a part of it. So I said, and when you think about how the world has gotten into a lot of churches, it doesn't matter. The word is the word.
That's right.
And you are to be peculiar.
That's right. I agree wholeheartedly. And again, it's what you live, it's what they see. So many of us will talk one thing and do something differently. And I challenge them, and then we gotta correct each other too. Sometimes we slip and fall.
I done had it both ways. Sometimes people are quick to not follow your lead, but follow all your bad leads.
Oh yeah.
And if you do something right, and you won't see nobody behind you.
Right.
The only one doing it.
Right.
So I've seen it
I know. Yeah.
You can't lead by example.
Right. Right.
I've seen way too many times where people just look at you and you be the only one doing it every time. You're like, what is somebody else going to see? Pick this up.
Yeah.
But you have to be willing, like Peter. Peter, when Jesus was being led to the cross, and Peter was trying
Yeah.
he said, surely you must be one of your
Yeah.
Surely you must be one
Yeah.
of the disciples. And Peter got up and said, no, I'm not with them. She said, no, you sound just like them.
Right.
Even if we try to...
That's right. That's right. Yeah, I know. Don't even sound right. Don't even sound right. Yeah.
sound just like... It wasn't your...
Right.
It was the way you talk.
That's right.
That gave
Hey, my dad. Yeah.
It's going to get over.
Yeah.
It's going to get over.
My dad, my oldest brother got in trouble back in high school. We were sitting at the house and Port Huron Police Department called. I'll never forget it. I answered the phone. Yeah, Mr. Payne. Yeah, just a second. It's Sergeant so-and-so. I'm like, okay. I said, Dad, it's Sergeant so. He said, what? And man, anyway, he got on the phone and you want to keep him? I said, no. So, he, all right, I'm on my way. Then he looked at me and said, get your coat. I'm like, what I got to get my coat for? I didn't say it, but I thought it. Man, we got down there and anyway, on the way home, my father was cussing, and I mean, I'm 11 to 12 years old, and, but I knew how to cuss, though, because I listened to Richard Pryor in the basement with my ear up against it. But I knew my daddy didn't know how to cuss, so it's like what you're saying. Nah, you ain't no cusser. That ain't you. He's gotten better over the years, I can tell you that. Now that he got grandbabies and great-grandbabies. But yeah, you're right. You will tell on yourself. You will tell on yourself. So, go ahead, Ken.
Oh, yeah, I just wanted to say something along those lines that what Brother Mike said before. About the people who, it was this comedian, I was over at my cousin's house, and it was like, he said, oh, yeah, a lot of people don't like him. And the reason they didn't like him was because he didn't cuss.
Right.
And, they wanted somebody who cussed.
Right.
So, it was like,
yeah.
along with those lines, what you were saying, some people,
that's right. And you can, man, I'm telling you, and you got to be strong. You can't give in to that. That's why I'm always stressing to my boys. I remember some years ago, my 16-year-old, they were going at it, didn't do homework, whatever, did it, didn't turn it in, something foolish, and they would be going at it, and I always told her, I said, listen, we need to make sure we keep these lines of communication open. I said, I don't want him to feel like he can't come to you. I said, right now, it's homework, taking out the garbage. I said, ain't no big deal. I said, but 4 or 5 years from now, it's going to be sex, it's going to be drugs, it's going to be all kind of stuff, and we're in that 4 or 5 years where he's 16, he don't look like no 16-year-old. He's bigger than a grown man, but we still have that, and that's what I want. I don't want him to give in to the peer pressure. I'm not trying to shield him. I want him to live his life because he's leaving after high school. I promise y'all that. But I want him to be able, you know what I'm saying? But this dude, man, and all of my boys, that's the last thing I want to hear. I had my son, my oldest boy, he was away at college, and it was probably the saddest phone call I ever had. He called me, man, it was like 2 o'clock in the morning. That's never a good call. He is down in Alabama at school, and man, he was bawling. One of his friends, some good studious kid, they were at a party. It was his birthday. They were doing a shot per year, whatever that was. Dead. Man, it just broke my heart, And he's like, Dad, this kid's a good kid, ain't never drinking that, but he gave in to this peer pressure. Saddest, and it's been, 10 years, 12 years ago, and I still remember it like it was yesterday. So again, call me. I don't care if it's 2 o'clock in the morning. I don't care where you at. Call me, I'll be there, And if I have to, I'm going to get the men's group. We're going to roll up in my Pacifica like gangsters. You know what I'm saying? Y'all got y'all heat with y'all? For real. So that's how we roll. So, but anyway, that's a big deal. So all these things that we're talking about. But again, I'm a big person on, not prejudging people. We all can look at each other, They don't know your story, dude. You know what I'm saying? They don't know my story. You know what I'm saying? They think I had the silver spoon in my mouth. Both parents at work, lolly-die, None of that happened. No, none of that happened. So we can overcome these circumstances. But again, I want to leave a legacy. I want people to look at me and say, hey, I grew up in them same projects. You know, my mother was addicted like yours. You know what I'm saying? She died in it. You know, those are the things, and you're still doing all of this, and yet you still have love in your heart. So when I see these young girls and young men, you know, I talk to them. Matter of fact, a couple of weeks ago, I said, how old do you have to be called sir? There was a guy, one of the bosses over there, he got to be close to my age. You know what I'm saying? And he said, oh, hey, you know, good morning, sir. You know, and I mean, he meant sir. You know, I mean, I call young 25, hey, thank you, sir. They hold the door, but thank you, sir. I appreciate it, you know. But he really meant sir. And I was like, do I really look, you know? So we came up with the generation thing. If there's a different generation, then you can be sir. But I'm thinking maybe 5 years, maybe 10 years. So, but anyway, but that's the attitude. So even with the young ladies, the young men or whatever, I still pal around with them. I know their stuff. I connect with them on their level. I don't judge them. You know, I don't care what your story is. You know, we've had men that come to the church that we invited, and you guys can attest to this. And they said, well, I don't know, you know, the biggest trick of the devil. I don't know, man. I done been through some stuff. You ain't heard no stories like mine. I said, I doubt it. You know, and he looked at me, I said, I doubt it. I said, brother, I said, I can promise you, you know, every man that you see in here wasn't the man that they were. You know what I'm saying? Well, these are life-changing stories that we had, and I always joke that we done ran some people off because of our stories. They're like, man, we can't go to that church. They're crazy over there, you know, so the discipleship, I have some other notes and stuff that examples, but I'll get all talked out. I could stay here forever, but I would just, and that's something that I'm doing even at work. I'm putting a letter out, you know, talking about some of these things, and I was going to try to get it out before Christmas. This will be on the internet now, but I'm going to get it out for the New Year's because I'm looking at there's 6,500 people at my job, you know, and my struggle, because I tell people I got two struggles. My struggle is politics. You know, I've never been so into politics like I am now, and I see a lot of stuff that I just don't like, and and I'm telling you, it bothers me. I'm doing real well, you know, with controlling it. A couple weeks ago, and again, I'm always being convicted. I was drinking something or whatever, and it kind of got caught in my throat. You know, I'm clearing my throat, drinking, you know. And one of the younger guys over there who we disagree with politically, and he said, man, you all right? I said, yeah. You know, so cleared my throat or whatever. And then it hit me later. I thought, if I really was choking, would I care? Really, would I care if he was, you know, Republican or Democrat? You know, so for real, that was my thought, you know, so that's a fact, you know. So now, that's what I think about. I'll say, if I was choking, would I want this person to help save me? So, but James called me the other day. He got on TV, and he said, you know, somebody got to stand up. Somebody got, you know, and I agree. So, like you said, we are peculiar people. It ain't the popular thing to do. You know, one of the things that I put in there, I got a lot in my notes, and I'm giving y'all a little hindsight. One of the things that I'm putting in my letter is that I'm telling, and, you know, because I'm trying to touch everybody. So I told the lady that's working with me, I said, do you know what this means? And basically what I told her was, I said, I gave up slamming Cadillac doors for a minivan. You know what I'm talking about? Do you know what that is? I gave up slamming Cadillac doors to driving a minivan. So, Kenyatta, I know you know that, right? So, Outkast, back in the day when they first came out, one of their songs was like, they slammed Cadillac doors because they used to drive Cadillacs, you know. So trying to touch some of the people, but apparently that's just my generation. I might leave that out, but I would hope everybody would understand that, you know, because it makes sense to me. So, but yeah, okay, see, those of us that's over 35, you know, it makes sense too. So, guys, I appreciate your time. I appreciate the opportunity. I've been in touch with the pastor. He's enjoying himself. I'm looking real tired in those pictures. You know what I'm saying? So, good tired, yeah. I thought you was tired. I ain't that tired. So, what we're going to do, we're going to take the offering right now. And I got a good joke, but I'm going to save it for the men's meeting.